The long journey. Home, I should have stayed at Amir's house. It was past midnight, and the highway stretched before me like a ribbon of asphalt swallowed by darkness. My car's headlights barely pierced the fog that wrapped around the road, swirling like wandering ghosts. I gripped the steering wheel tightly, my fingers stiff with tension, fear, and dread. The radio emitted a harsh, eerie static, with a faint whisper weaving through the noise like a haunting, repetitive murmur. I pressed the buttons frantically, but I couldn't get any station to come in clearly. Just static. Just that faint whisper, repeating endlessly. I turned it off and the silence returned, heavy and terrifying. I was alone on the highway. No other cars, no streetlights, nothing but fog and trees lining the road on both sides, their twisted branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. I couldn't help but glance in the rearview mirror. The back seat was, of course, empty. I was alone in the car and alone on the highway, but my reflection looked pale, my eyes wide, terrified. I whispered to myself, "Just keep driving. Get home." I pressed the gas pedal, and the engine's roar was the only sound in the eerie stillness. The fog grew thicker, swirling around the car and reducing my visibility to just a few feet. My heart raced, blood pounding in my ears, as I suddenly saw someone by the side of the road. A man stood unnaturally still, his head tilted as if watching me. I swerved violently, tires screeching against the asphalt as I slammed on the brakes. But when I looked back, no one was there. I let out a shaky breath and laughed nervously. Just a trick of the fog. My nerves were on edge, but my heart wouldn't calm down. I looked in the mirror again. Nothing, just the road and the fog. I turned my eyes back to the road, and suddenly something darted in front of the car. I slammed on the brakes, the car jolting to a stop. My chest heaved as my eyes scanned the fog for whatever had crossed my path. Was it an animal? Something else? I wasn't sure. I just knew I was scared out of my mind. The road was empty. I muttered a curse under my breath, my fingers trembling as they gripped the steering wheel. A cold chill ran down my spine. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. I started driving again, the car speeding down the road. Just keep driving. Almost home. But I saw him again. The man, standing by the roadside, his head tilted at that unnatural angle. His face was pale, his eyes like black pits watching me as I sped past, the speedometer climbing to 180 miles per hour. This time, I didn't look back. The fog thickened, and I was driving almost blind, seeing only a few feet ahead. I knew I shouldn't be driving this fast, but I couldn't stop. Not with him out there. Not with those eyes following me. The radio turned on by itself, the whisper returning, but clearer this time. It repeated the same words over and over. "Don't look back. Don't look back." A cold shiver ran through me. I tried to turn off the radio, but the buttons wouldn't work. The whisper grew more urgent, the voice rising. "Don't look back." I didn't. I kept my eyes on the road, my vision narrowing as fear gripped me. But I felt it. Felt him. Behind me. In the back seat. Cold breath on my neck. Eyes staring at me without blinking. My throat went dry, my fingers clenching the steering wheel. I didn't dare look in the mirror. I didn't dare confirm what I already knew. I wasn't alone in the car anymore. I could feel his cold, terrifying breath, my heart nearly stopping from sheer terror. The fog began to clear, and my driveway appeared in the distance. Relief flooded me, and I pressed the gas pedal harder. I was almost home, almost safe, almost inside my house, with my family. Then I heard it, a low, raspy voice from the back seat. "You looked." My scream froze in my throat as cold fingers wrapped around my shoulder, sharp nails digging into my skin. The car swerved off the road, tires screeching. I struggled, tried to break free, but he was strong. Impossibly strong. Not human. Something from another world, with supernatural strength. His grip was so tight I felt blood trickling from where his claws sank into my shoulder. The last thing I saw before the car flipped were his eyes, black and bottomless, reflecting my own terrified face. When they found me the next morning, crushed among the wreckage, they said my eyes were wide open, staring at the rearview mirror. They found no trace of him, but I know he's still out there, waiting in the fog for the next driver who dares to look back.